us more about yourself and your creative journeys. And for you, Garfield, what did your journey look like for becoming a mentor?
Okay, so interesting journey. I tended to, I worked in education for 16 years, but I fell into it kind of. It was one of those moments where you see, I'd been off work, came back to work, and then there was an advert for a job that one of my colleagues talked to me about, and they said to me, "We think you'd be really good at this." And I came in on the Monday, saw the advert on the Monday, I thought, I haven't got time. The deadline's on the Wednesday. I went home, couldn't stop thinking about it. Went into work the next day and strangely enough, took some time out of work to fill the application form in, dropped it off, and it all worked out. So it was one of those moments where you kind of, rather than knowing and thinking that was where I needed to go, I was led there. So I'm not trying to say it was meant to be, but it was probably meant to be. Okay. And then the rest is history. I've been involved in mentoring since 2003. Worked in education up until 2019. Pandemic hit. I was working for different organisations between then and then last year. The gentleman sat over there. He left his job with the council, and I'd had the idea of setting up this mentoring business for 10 years before that. Never did it. He said he left and he needed some work. I said, well, let's do this. So, and then the weekend after, the business was started.
Okay. So this gentleman that sat in the crowd is the co-founder?
He's one of them, Steve.
Could we get the name?
Steve Brown.
Okay, big up Steve.
Yo, let's make some noise for Steve.
All love. All right, so boys, as for the music artists, tell us more about yourself, your creative journeys. Let us get to know you a bit.
All right, cool. So I started music quite late in terms of what I do. No one around to help, just kind of YouTube tutorials and kind of putting shit down, figuring it out, and just trial by fire sort of thing. And I think a big skill set of mine was the business side of things. So as I started when I was at uni in Derby. And then when I've come back to Birmingham, there's not a lot going on. So it was a lot of networking through Instagram, see what's cracking, see who's got what going on. And then that's been a journey so far. And then since then, performed in Japan. I'm after South Korea in 2 weeks. I've got other stuff going on in Brazil. And it's all through just Instagram and Google Translation. And that makes up the bulk of my journey so far. So it's kind of like there's missions to complete, but the mission's never really completed sort of thing. So as Nipsey says, like the marathon continues, and so whatever you do is just kind of a case of keep going until it actually works.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm the opposite to Mayday. As long as I can remember, I've been passionate with music. I've loved music since day one. Like, I remember my mum's told me stories. She used to push me around the pram, and I'd be like rapping out the songs that was out them times there. I can't remember them, but this is what numerous people have told me, singing along in my pram, whatever. And then when I was in primary school, I performed at Walsall Town Hall in the choir. Singing with a few people in my year, a few people in my school. I performed, I did a play, Alice in Wonderland. I sang a solo in like year 6, and then like in year 7 it became like a grime thing, you know, when grime was it, and everyone was like the 15 people on one instrumental, and you have to pay £2 each for studio and that, and then like, the intro's like 3 minutes after you've said everyone's name at the start of the song, like let's shout me out, big up this guy, big up Steve, big up this person. Like that's where I come from, proper raw spitting, raw rapping. But a lot of my friends fell off, and I stayed on it. I had to read it because it was the right incentive for me. I didn't do this when it was popular. I didn't do it when they had Central C and Dave and Stormzy when I came up. The people I was looking up to was broke, not broke, but they weren't like 50 Cent and these man, like it was different. There was local MCs, people that was doing things. So I believe that why I'm still at it now is because the incentive's real. It's for the love, it's not for the music, it's not for the clout, it's not for the image, it's because I love music, you get me? So that's where it starts and hopefully where it ends.
Okay.
My journey started, I think, as far back as my last year at school, and I decided to go to a studio for work experience instead of getting a proper job. So started from there, and then I learnt the skills and my craft from there and built upon it over the years. And my cousin showed me a lot. My other cousin, not this one, he showed me a lot. And but just got a musical family, so I think we've all kind of got something about us to do with music. So yeah, it's just come from there really, and then you know.
Would you say same local experience?
Local experience.
So he said he's quite local. He wanted to be.
Yeah. I've kind of been around. I'm from Walsall, but I've been to Birmingham. I've been to Wolverhampton. I've done music with lots of different people. So I've met a lot of people over the years on my journey. So. Yeah, but I remember when I was maybe even 16, I was next door being at set, like what he's talking about, and there was like 20 people trying to clamber around to try and say they're 16 or they're 8 or whatever it may be. Okay. So yeah.
Can you guys all agree to that the industry can be a bit hard, and it can be a bit hard on your mental health as well? As a mentor, you might have heard maybe, or you would know if it's been a bit hard.
Definitely. I would say it's definitely hard. Even as a producer, it's hard. As an artist, it's even harder because you're trying to get yourself out there. But as a producer, when you're trying to meet new artists or get people to work with you, it's kind of a struggle at first, but the more you carry on and persevere and learn more about what you're trying to do, things will happen all the time.
I think it's hard on different layers. It's hard on so many different ways. It's hard to even explain, but it's very congested. Like everyone wants to rap now. Everyone wants to make beats now. Everyone wants to sing now. Everyone wants to do that now. So it's hard to stand out and not be too different. Because if we're all fighting in the same field, we all make rap, how can you really vary that? You know what I mean? There's only so many different ways you can spin off and stand out. Yeah. And you don't want to be too similar to what's out there, because then there's no difference for me and the next man. But you can't be too different, because I'm not going to get the same fans that I need. So it is hard. And also there's a lot of pressure on image these days, with music videos being what they are. I think it's probably 20% music now, whereas it's 80% image. You know what I mean? So that makes it a lot harder. You could be as talented as you want, but if you're not prepared to wear certain clothes or do certain things or flash cash or act a certain way, more than likely, unfortunately, you're not going to go where you are. So it is hard on a lot of different aspects.
That's very interesting. It takes me to my next question, which is, can you all share time in your life when you felt like you've taken the wrong turn, were on the wrong path, or was there ever a moment like that? If yes, what was the turning point that made you realise you needed a change? That's for the artist. As for you, Garfield, as a mentor, have you seen young people struggle with finding their way? What are some common issues they face in their day-to-day today now?
What's that?
Yeah,
mentor.
So, I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed is the how easy it is to lose your focus. I think one of the things with young people within the industry is that belief in themselves. I think when you've got somebody in your corner that can support and be there and give you it real, it's a lot easier to stay there. I think it's easy to. I think the opportunity and the. I remember a story that somebody told me. My brother told me actually, in relation to his daughter. I'm not going to talk about any more than that. He said to her, "What's your plan B?" And she said back to him, "Dad, I haven't got a plan B, just the one plan." And the one plan, if you keep giving yourself opportunities to step away from what you want to do, you'll do it. So if you give yourself that one goal, that one mission, don't get me wrong, I'm saying it from a perspective of a person that's tried different things and finally got to where he wanted to go. I had many plan Bs. I had plan A, B, C, and D. But if you're a creative, if you know who you are, if you've got a drive for what you are, and I'm gonna say, and if you're good, stay with it. Yeah. It's easy to get carried away with a belief in something that you don't have a talent for, because of people behind you supporting you. And I'm going to say this to everybody out there: don't support somebody just because you're their friend. Support them because they're good. Yeah. So once you're on that path and you've the belief, the vision, the drive, you put everything into it. If you're good enough and you take advantage of opportunities that are right there for you, you'll get there. Okay. Don't just because of reasons around that. And so the people that I'm talking about, those people will have gone by the wayside because they haven't got those people supporting them, because they haven't got the opportunities, because they haven't got the talent. Yeah. So the belief in what you do and the right people around you, you'll get there.
I think for me, in terms of the wrong turn thing, predate music, we was 15 and my best friend H got killed. And at that point, it's like 15, like nothing's gone on yet. You haven't lifed yet, you know what I'm saying? So that, even the situation and circumstance of how it happened, who it was, etc. Just that now, like, we had so much to do. So the world in which the problem, I guess, surfaced itself, distancing from there pretty much immediately for various reasons. I would say that was the wrong turn. Very hard and whatever. But it's got me here today in that sort of situation. But that was probably the biggest wrong turn. Because life's full of mistakes, and everyone in this room has messed up many a time. You mess up many more. Game's game. It's whatever. As long as you keep going. But I think that was the linchpin, the big pivotal turning point. I was like, okay, cool. I need to, in this situation, get this shit sorted. And so that's probably it.
Okay.
For me, I've made many left turns, made many mistakes, done too many stupid things to tell you all about them today. But I think the most obvious one, if you know me, would be to talk about when I went to jail, because I think I was about 17 or 18 when I committed the crime, and it was going through court for about 2 years, and I finally went to jail when I was like 20. So it was a big long. I did a lot of maturing just during that time alone, let alone the time I spent in custody and after. So that was probably the big one. I don't want to go too much into it, but I made a stupid mistake and it changed my life. But I think that I was sitting in jail and I'd speak to people and I'd hate it. I'd hate everything about being where I was. It was the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. And I'd speak to someone, he'd say the same to me. He'd be like, I hate it, this is rubbish, I ain't coming back here. But then, you've already been here 7 times, and then when you leave, I see you again before I go home. And I used to think to myself, that's psychopathic, bro. You don't even enjoy it, you don't even like it. It's not even like this is fun, and you don't like it. So why are you not making action? Why are you not changing? Why are you not doing something to change your circumstances? Yeah. Why you think you're just gonna go out there and be better at crime? No, bro. It's not gonna be the case. It's not gonna be. There's 100. Look how many people are in jail, full to the brim of people who think they're gonna be better at crime. So I had to sit back one day and think. I remember the first time I ever cried, I was in jail. The only time I ever cried, I was in jail. Was I phoned my daughter on her birthday, and as soon as I heard her voice, I cried. I didn't cry throughout the whole thing, the whole situation, and I was just like, this ain't for me. Like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? I had to look back at myself and think, I'm not going back again, let alone 10 times like these other people. I ain't. Even if I don't become the person I want to be, I'm not going to be that guy. You know what I mean? That's fact. So I think that was the most substantial time. Really. Okay.
Thanks for sharing. All of you, to be fair.
Mine's a bit similar in the sense of I was in trouble for years and I was potentially going to go to jail, and I made a decision to, instead of just waiting to see what happens, I decided to actively go to college and learn about music. So that's further pushed on my passion for music as well, because I learned more about the skills and things you require to make music and produce it properly. And then it gave me a second chance to not be locked up and do something constructive in my life. And then from there I went on to union. And,
Okay. So we've spoken a bit about the wrong paths in life. So in your opinion, who plays a vital role in a young person's life to find their way back to the right path? Who's the influence for positive change?
Yeah, so I want to interject, sorry.
Go on.
I think I've got that many positive role models and still went left, and it has to be in you.
Oh.
It has to be yourself.
Tell us more about that.
You can talk. I've got nephews now who are going through the same things I went through, and they've seen me go through it all. There's no telling nobody. There's no telling. They have to be one. They have to want to change. How can I can't tell you to change something you don't think's wrong? You know what I mean? It has to be in you. Like I've got nephews who have a positive dad who's a teacher, and that's his positive role model. Still went down the wrong path. I got a nephew who's got no dad. Still went down the wrong path. Yeah. So it's people look to say, oh, it's this, it's the parents. It's not the parents. You could tell them until they're blue in the face, don't do this. They're still going to do it. It has to be in you. The person has to know what they're doing wrong and have to want to change personally. And then anyone can help. I could help as a randomer. Any of you that in there could help. If you book up someone on the road and they genuinely want to change, it doesn't matter if they're dad, their uncle, their cousin, they will help. If you're helping them, they'll take your help. But they have to want to change. That's the issue for me. I think it's all within personally. That's why I had to interject there, because I felt like it was, everyone else might have a different opinion on it, but I don't think your dad can do it, your uncle, your mum, your sister. No one, it has to be you. If you want to be a fool, you're going to be a fool. If you want to be a good person, you're going to be a good person, and no one's going to change that.
Mayday, Taylor, I saw you guys nodding a bit.
I kind of agree with what Jay said. So it's not just about your environment, it's also about the person. So if you mentally want to change, start putting yourself around people that are like-minded, that also want to change, and then from there it will progress into something. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, echoing what these men said, basically. Ideally, it does help. Like, you are the sum of the 7 people you spend the most time around, or whatever. Yeah. Spending time around 7 criminals, more than likely. Do you know what I'm saying? So obviously, Jay's correcting what he said, and Taylor's correcting what he said. And, like, going through what Jay did, and then having an environment to help that. Like, there is a massive internal ability for it, but having a great external support system, whether that's parents, colleagues, peers, even role models, even YouTubers you have a parasocial relationship with, just someone who's like, oh, that's who I can be or look up to, sort of thing. Anything like that can help. But as Jay said, there is a lot of responsibility on the self as well.
I can see the mentor nodding a bit. Let's hear what you've got to say.
I totally agree with that. I also believe that it is timing. It is when you're ready. It isn't. You can't make someone ready. So when I worked as a mentor in education, I remember an occasion where there was this one young person who was constantly told to come to meetings. They didn't come until the one day when they came, and the reason why they didn't come was quite traumatic for them. Yeah. So when they started coming, it was right, but then it was too late. So one of those situations in life where you know that somebody needs something, it doesn't. You can't. It's that old adage. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink, but the water still needs to be there. Just because you've led them to the water, you don't take the water away. The water always needs to be there, so that whenever that time's right and they're thirsty enough to come for it, and they're there and you're ready, and then the door's always open. Mentors are always there for you.
Definitely.
They're always ready to give you that time, to give you that motivation, to give you that thought. Often it's just a thought, and often it's that person, and the being constant, being there regularly, being reliable. That reliable person, that reliable face, that face that you can remember, that you can. I mean, often young people talk about that one teacher in school. Yeah. That one teacher in school was that mentor for that child. And that's the reason why they remember them, not because of the subject, it's because they mentored that child. And they could rely on them to be there. So I'm going to stop singing about mentoring, but I'm going to keep coming back to it because that's why I'm here.
So you guys opened up a bit, spoken a bit about your mental health issues. Clearly, that's what's happened. You've been through all that. So the question of have you ever struggled with mental health, that's not even a topic, is it? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I did. Like when I come home from jail, I think it was a big. I don't want to blame anything other than I was just in the wrong space. Like I had to take a bit of time out. But I think that the issue with the mental health thing is how they treat you. Like from first-hand experience, everyone's experience might be different. You might not agree with me, but when I went to the doctors to seek help, which is what they say you should do, they didn't help me. They just gave me another problem because they gave me medication that didn't treat the issue. I didn't stop feeling depressed or anxious. It just made me that polluted that I can't even think about the problem. I got another problem, so I stopped taking the medication, and now I feel like, touch wood, I'm at nearly at the end of it. The say it never goes in it, but I feel like it's a lot more under control now. Definitely. I feel myself more. But I think if I stayed taking that medication, I would never would have got out of that loop because it made me feel worse than being mentally ill. Their treatment made me feel way worse than being mentally ill. So I can't really, like, I don't know. I think there's people with worse situations than me that could probably offer you more insight into it. But my only little take with the mental health situation is it's not, there needs to be better, there needs to be active treatments, like get people together, make sure they're not lonely, make sure they're not heartbroken, make sure they're not poor, make sure they're not this, that, because a lot of people, like I believe a lot of my issues was not really mental health issues, it was maybe how I was living at the time, maybe my decisions, and if someone could let me think that back then, with experience, I would have saved the NHS a lot of money with medication, with time. Someone that really needs that help could have got that.
Someone that actually listens properly,
help. So it's a weird one for me. Like I definitely admit that there's a mental health issue, but I think the bigger issue is how we're dealing with the issue rather than the issue itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like we have to treat people better than just giving them drugs and that, because it's not going to help nobody at the end of the day. Because you know what I mean? Like people stop taking medication, relapse or whatever, and what happens after that is it could be literally someone's life could be lost. You know what I mean? But if you try and treat them not with medication, with actual in their mind, then that ain't gonna be the case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Personally.
Yeah, I agree with that. I haven't really suffered with any mental illness that I'm aware of, but I've got friends and people that I know that have suffered from it. I've got a friend who is a producer also. He had schizophrenia, and another friend that I know is suffering from depression right now. So I just try and do as much as I can to support them and to get them out of the house and get their minds going. So they're not so depressed. And that's it really. I think it is about the support system. That's the main thing.
People need to realise as well that no one lets them their real self be out there.
Yeah.
And I think that like with social media and everything, that people only show the positive sides of their life. It's easy to beat yourself up because you're looking at this person who's been on 3 holidays a year, posted every holiday, not the overtime, not the working, not the hard work.
To get to the holiday.
People think that these people are just living better lives than them, not knowing that they've had to do something, some kind of sacrifice to get that. And it's nothing wrong with posting your wins, but it's the people that are beating themselves up about not posting their wins or not having wins to post. The people are not just waking up and being in that environment. They've worked for it, they've done something for it. So I think that a lot of it is pressure as well on yourself. Like, I don't drive, I ain't got a car. Most of my friends have got that, but I've never beat myself up over that. It's my time when it's my time.
Yeah.
But a lot of people aren't like that. I think, you know what I mean? We have to work out who needs what help. I think that's what the issue is. Who needs the drugs? Who needs just time? You get me? Personally. Sorry.
I've got nothing to add to that. I mean, these two pretty much rallied across and got the point across, to be fair. So, yeah, nothing from my side.
I'm going to talk from trauma.
Okay.
It's only as an adult that I've realised that there was trauma. There was when I was 9. I moved from Gloucester to Walsall, and then I went to a primary school in Blakemore, and Harden actually, and I don't remember learning anything for 2 years. I remember going to school every day, but I don't remember the lessons. I don't remember. So when I got to secondary school, where I met the gentleman over there, I woke up. It was as if for the 2 years that I was in primary school until I got to secondary school, there was ACEs. Mm-hmm. So it was an adverse childhood experience that made me forget everything. And it didn't, I suppose I was blotted out 2 years of life. And it's only when I got older and I kind of looked into it more that I realised that there was a gap. And then I remember everything since then. So it's interesting how it can affect you. I remember the first night moving, and I was so upset about leaving Gloucester. It was there was a real community that I came from, and where I moved to, it was very, very different, very unwelcoming. Very there was a lot of racial tension. Yeah. You weren't accepted. So I think that added to it, but it stuck with me. But then I got to secondary school, and then, like I say, I woke up, and it was to do with feeling at home. Mm. You know, even though I'd moved to another home, I didn't feel home there. And then when I got to secondary school, for whatever reason, I felt home. There was all these people that looked like me, all these people that had the same interests as me, all these people that were motivated the same as me. And then it changed. Everything changed. And then, I didn't go to the school that I was supposed to go to, but I went to the right school at the right time. So
things happen for a reason.
It's again.
So you guys have spoken a bit about your mental health, but you've never told me from artists' point of perspectives. Do you think this industry has influenced it, made it worse, made it better, or just how do you think your mental health-wise kind of?
I wouldn't say the industry as such. I would say more so social media.
Okay.
It's more harder for people to want to do things, to put their music out, to even want to do music in the first place, because there's such a high standard being shown on social media.
So what does that do to your creative expression?
It can either deter you from carrying on or make you want to do more and push it further. Like for me, when I see people I know or peers or whatever doing well, it makes me want to keep doing what I'm doing. So that's how I look at it.
Okay.
For me, it's different because I think that if we're talking on a like a nationwide scale, it's probably made it worse. But if we're talking for me, it's definitely helped. So it's a weird question because I think my mental health would be a lot worse if I didn't have a creative outlet, I didn't have a studio, I didn't have a voice, couldn't clear some space in my mind from time to time. But I also feel like the pressure of image and living up to a narrative that's false, even for these rappers that have actually made it, a lot of them can't afford the life they portray. And I think that it's made a lot of people feel like they're not successful if they ain't got that. Not knowing that, like, if you've gone to studio and you've plucked some airs out of thin air, some words out of thin air, and put it together and it rhymes, that's a success, bro. That's a win. I'd be happy that you've done that. You don't have to have a chain or a Lamborghini to be successful, bro, in my opinion. And I think that this is where a lot of kids, especially the kids growing up, like mainly after my generation, it's hard, there's a thin line. They judge success materialistically, not necessarily on the process or what you're doing. So I think it's hindered a lot of people. It's also helped a lot of people. So it's just about the person, I think, individual, how they deal with stress and how they deal with setbacks and problems. It comes down to you.
Yeah, I think what Jay said about like social media is a highlight reel, especially music, and it's like you want to show the best video or the best song. And On the previous panel, Ian and the rest of the women were on about Imposter Syndrome. And not me personally, but I know a lot of people have suffered from that. Yeah. Especially in the genres that we operate in. It's like, yo, am I good enough to be in this room, or like, do I belong here? What? Yeah. And like, it's just down to the lyrics and you being the best on the day in the room, whatever. I know I'm the best in my city. There might be people who've done X, Y, Z, but when it's like, if we're in the same room, I know I'm going to be the best. And if you don't think like that, get out of the room, because otherwise it's gone. And I think music is one of those industries where you have this idea, you get so many people involved to bring your idea to life, to then only sell it for 99p as a standard. That level of work, you have to have a very tough skin and understand that you're going to get no 99 times before you get the one yes that changes it. Definitely. If you can't do that or go on that journey and deal with that, then again, you may as well just quit now, because you will look down 6 months in the line and nothing will have changed because you can't accept a no, or you can't deal with the game that you're playing in it. So, but remember, it's your choice to play the game. No one told Jay to do music. No one told Taylor to make a beat. These men said, I'm going to do this. So it's on them. Same way it's on everyone else.
I don't know if you guys have watched Champion on Netflix.
I don't have a Netflix account.
I haven't.
Just a brief overview. Champion is about a few people in London trying to make it in the it's called music industry, and he ends up with a lot of mental health issues. He feels a bit lonely. That's why I'm bringing that up, and which is why I asked the questions.
Got something to watch tonight.
You need to get on it.
Maybe he needs a password.
Maybe he needs the password. But yeah, that's why I asked these questions, and I was just wondering if it's ever a bit lonely out there in the music industry, or...
I mean, it can be, but I think the best thing in music is like anything, like you build and find your tribe in it. Yeah. So like me right now, for example, I've been doing the music, not for long, but like the genre we do, me and Jay were talking about this earlier, it's not as popular as it once was at its peak a few years ago. However, I've now linked up with MCs and producers in Birmingham. And like you said in the introduction, there is a new grime renaissance, like a new genre, a new generation, of Birmingham grime artists coming through in it. There's me, I can name you 10 others right now. Yeah. But in the last, 5 to 7 years, you couldn't even get 4 men in the same room. So I think because I've both found, cultivated and built this community, it's not as lonely. But at the same time, you have to do your own thing. Like if me and Jay work together, cool, but like once that's done, Jay's got to do what he's got to do. I've got to do what I've got to do. And paths will cross, but like you have to be out there for yourself. Because like I said, you've started it for yourself, most likely. So you're not really going to find that many people. But as you go through the journey, obviously these guys are family and whatever, but you will find people who will join your team because they like what you're doing, and you will have built your community through that.
I feel that we make it lonely, our egos. A lot of people are scared to work with someone if they don't help them or elevate them. So like, I might be a good MC, but if I've got less followers than you, someone might look at that and say, why am I making a song with you? And that's the way it is. That's the honestly the way it is.
That's the image, like going back to the image.
Back to the image. It's like they feel like they're doing you. So rather than just making art together or let's working
It's
together.
like employers hiring employees.
I'm doing him a favor. I ain't gonna do that. I only want to work with someone bigger than me. I've never been like that. Never ever. I'm not saying that for the cameras. I'm not saying it for the microphone. But a lot of people are, and I've experienced it. People from my own area that know me, like have charged me to work with them because they've got a bigger platform at that time, than me. And I think it comes down to that. Like people don't want to lift people up; they'd rather be lifted up, and that's the issue. And that's why it gets lonely because people are not willing to work for free or work just for work's sake. Yeah. It always comes about percentages or about give me $5,000 and I'll come and give you that.
Hungry, definitely.
Bro, let's work, man. I'm like that. That's why I can't really say it's lonely for me. But there's times it has been and there's times it will be because I'm not gonna sell myself short to get you to come to me. You know what I mean? So it's a weird one. It's a good question, definitely.
I keep hearing Birmingham this, Birmingham that. Guys, you're from Walsall, you do realise.
He's from Walsall, I'm from Birmingham.
Oh, sorry. I apologise. Okay.
But even then, I think Birmingham and its music history, it's Walsall, Wolverhampton, Coventry, because it's the West Midlands. I like kind of get lumped together anyway.
I understand where you're coming from, but then at the same time, that is your space. If Walsall, you're from Walsall, then you're Walsall. Because it brings me to my other question. What role has your community played in your growth as an artist? And as for Garfield, what should community leaders think about when it comes to creating and supporting environment for young people, in specific to these young artists in Walsall, let's say, for example?
I'd suggest that the landscape in Walsall is quite barren. I know that the team that were doing the promotion for the event, I know that they were out and about in Walsall. I know what the town's like. There seems to be an apathy and a lack of enthusiasm for anything, I suppose, and they don't trust people that they don't know unless you've got something that they're looking for. But that's young people generally. So I'd suggest that the presence within Walsall is lacking because there isn't that creative. It doesn't feel as though there's a space for it. But there is a space. It's just that the space isn't advertised well. It isn't taken up by the right people. It isn't. It seems like a closed shop. So the community itself, it's there, but I think that what it needs some fresh blood. It needs some new creatives of the right age and with the right vision. But it also needs people to open the spaces up for them so that they can do what they need to do where they need to do it.
This is why they keep mentioning Birmingham, I'm guessing.
Because I'm from Walsall, Jay's from Walsall, but I've recorded a lot of songs in Birmingham. Like I go to Birmingham a lot of the time to record music, or go to Paris studios, just like a freelance.
We kind of have to leave. We couldn't do what we wanted to do solely here, and that's a big issue. Yeah. Because if you can't see, I don't know if it's possible.
There's not as much resources.
There's no accessibility, and also then it goes down to finances. Like, I can't afford to travel to Birmingham every day. Yeah. That's facts.
With the bus fares now.
That's facts. With studio time on top of that, and then you got to eat food. You got to drink juice. You got to do these things. There's not enough. One for free, and there's not enough even if you want to pay.
As a creative as well.
There's one recording studio active, but there's maybe two. But I think the other one's a bit more. I don't want that. It's a bit hard to get into it, should we say that? And the other one, it's £25 an hour. I could even see if this was the prices when I started spitting. I wouldn't even rap now. I wouldn't rap now. I mean, I couldn't afford £10 an hour. That was the rates when I was like 12, 13. Like I said earlier, we had to go £2 each to that. So imagine now we have to get £25. Imagine you have to have 100 man on the street to afford the you know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Back in the day when I started coming up, there was youth clubs.
Yes, where you could go and do it for free. Yeah. There's not one youth club in Walsall town that I know of personally. Obviously, I've got a kid to be going there, but I don't hear no kids saying, let's go youth club or let's go this place. Even the 6 weeks holidays now, there's not one place where I've seen on the internet where, this is where kids can go. No, there's no facilities, there's no accessibility for these kids to do.
I'm going to jump in because obviously I wear two hats. So I also work for Youth Justice, and I do know that there is some creative hubs within the authority.
Okay.
The issue, like I said before, the issue is that it's like a closed shop. It's like it's a big secret. It isn't. The people that need to know about it don't know about it.
It's not really known to the public.
Yeah, so the youth, there is things out there for the youth, but the problem that we have is the
It's not getting to the right youth.
accessibility and who knows about it and how it's being spread. I mean, people talk about socials all the time. The socials that need to be spread, that are spreading it are the wrong ones. I mean, it's got to be on TikTok, hasn't it, for you guys? It's got to be on
Facebook,
Instagram, Facebook,
everything.
and
all these things.
I'm pretty sure I know that it's on X, which who uses X these days? Not that many people. So it's that's part of the problem. Part of the problem. You need some more innovation, more people in touch with what the younger people are, where they're seeing stuff.
I think that's the thing, what you said, in touch with it. I think the people who are probably controlling these things or promoting these things are not us.
Touch with the community.
And they're not there. So
We don't know about it.
I don't know about any place I can go now. I can tell my kids or my nephews or nieces, go here or go there, because there's not representations of us other than you. I'm not saying that about you or Steve. I know you are. I know you from first hand. You are. I'm on about the bosses, the people that can say, all right, let's put aside this amount of money for promotion. It's all good and well having the infrastructure, but if no one's going to use it, who does that help? You have to be able to say, all right, let's get our target audience aware of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue. The people that are running it are good people, good men, they're cool.
Yeah.
But what can they do? It's only going to be their family and friends that come. We need a whole area-wide scale. Some are from different areas, some are from different places, different walks of life, so we can all meet together. Not just the people that need the help, the people that don't as well. So I can learn from someone who's better than me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Someone
definitely.
who's not better than me, but someone from a different walk of life than me. You know what I mean? I can teach them about this, they can teach me about that, and everyone's happy. But it's a bit hard.
Mayday, I know you're not from.
I'm gonna.
Sorry, go on.
I'm gonna cut the brum.
Go on. Sorry.
I was a panel along. I know.
Here's the thing that's coming into my head. Don't rely on people.
No.
You know, but even though I'm saying it, we need to rely on people. But at the same time as that, we need to be in a position where if it's not there, let's make it.
Yeah.
So I have 1,001 ideas. I've got, it's ridiculous the amount of ideas I've got. There is an idea I've had, and it could come true at some point. But the reality is that we need to make sure that rather than relying on the people that should be doing it, create it yourself, and then they'll come to you.
And this is coming from a person that's actually done it, co-founded with his friend, passionate about the subject. I was trying to get Mayday a bit involved in this as well, because I know you're not. I think somehow. My apologies, I did not know. But you have fans all the way in Brazil, and you have performed in Japan, and you're performing in South Korea as well. This is kind of telling me that you're not local in Birmingham either. So how these people are going to Birmingham, you're going overseas. Is it because you want to, or is it more?
No. So for me, so what Jay was just on about with Walsall, Birmingham's the exact same, but on a bigger level. But I'm being on the inside, I see it, innit? So the way Jay's like, yo, I've got to go to Rome. I'm like, yo, we have to be in London. Yeah. And London, man, I'm like, yo, I need to be in the US. So for me, we've built a lot, like us new artists, we've built quite a lot in a year. I've started a newsletter that updates people on everything Grime in a month. I own the biggest Birmingham Grime playlist on Spotify, again, that I've built from zero. No one told me to. But because no one's archiving and documenting what the last generation were doing, I've learned from them, so we're doing it. So I think with that, you have to build national. It doesn't always work, but you have to. But I can give you countless stories about going down to London to swing it out with their MCs. A 6-hour round trip to get the mic for literally 30 seconds. So I've done all that. But now it's like, because the internet is the great equalizer and there's not necessarily that many gatekeepers in specific aspects anymore. There's people who rock with me in the Czech Republic or Japan or Australia, whatever it is. So I'll just go to them and then go outside to bring it back in. And I've been doing that with Birmingham. Like this year is very collab focused with non-Birmingham artists. Wolverhampton, me and Jay have got something at some point. Manchester, Nottingham. So it's just a case of going out to bring it back in. So Jay's doing that, but it's on like a smaller scale because Walsall is just smaller than Birmingham. But again, what he feels about coming to Brum, I'm like, I don't like London unless I'm getting paid to be there or
Same
business.
way I
I
feel
do
about
not like it. That's what I'm saying. But he feels the same way about. He's like, yo, let me just operate there. But as you just alluded to,
I saw you nodding. I said you have to come into this.
that's like there's very little resources in Birmingham, so there's essentially nothing in Walsall. At least, obviously Jay just done something great with Walsall Football Club or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, there's how many other Jays trying to do it as well? There's only one football club, so there's more platforms that need to be whatever. We're going back to what he was saying, like the funding and even the people and the continuation of the work to even keep them running for longer than 6 months, because it's such a loveless thing and everyone's trying to achieve something. People start to fall off because they understand like it's a very hard game to play, and there's only people like Garfield, Stephen, etc., who play the game for so long and they've still only seen a slight bit of success compared to what they should have done. You get me? So it's kind of a case of like you have to keep going until the marathon continues, and until you carry on, the race is over.
Yeah. Okay, so just moving on to probably my last question right now. What impact do you hope to have on your listeners, on your community, through your future work? How do you plan to use your platform for positive impact? And for Garfield, as a mentor, what advice do you give to young people about setting and achieving future goals? How can they stay focused in a world full of distractions?
For me, sorry Garfield, I'll cut the Walsall out for a change. For me, community-wise, it's like there's all these new artists and producers, and we're missing a few elements in terms of documentation and media outlets and whatever.
Yeah.
But I started doing what I did and then found other people who were doing it, and we've started to build this thing. And Birmingham had a great grime generation, 2011 to 2013. Grime was Birmingham, it was down here and whatever.
Definitely.
Then everyone fell off and all of this sort of stuff. London took it back. And since then, it got unpopular, but now it's starting to become popular. Like the older lot are doing it again. But as a fan, before an artist, they made loads of mistakes, in my opinion, releasing bad music, not releasing music at all. I saw it as a fan, but obviously there was little problems that just stopped them working together, a lot of collaboration. So I'm like, to all us, like, because when we're all on form, there's probably about a good 12 to 15 brand new Birmingham grime artists and whatever. When we're all together and whatever, I say this to these, I'm like, boys, listen, we've got a chance to do this, but we have to understand the long game. And of course, we've had disagreements because when you got 15 egos involved and everyone's trying to do their thing, you're going to disagree at some point.
They don't want to hear it, no.
But that's the whole thing. And then with the newsletter, it's not got my name on it, it's just Birmingham Grime. Same with the Spotify playlist. So I can hand that off to someone, again, as the last panel was alluding to. Like, it's, even though I've started it, it's detached from me. So, like, someone else can carry it on and keep building it. And in regards to listeners, I was saying to Jay earlier, like, I listen to my own music. I put out music I would listen to, and I find it fun. So some of them are stories, some of them are like motivational, it's whatever. But music, as soon as I press upload, it's not my music anymore. The market tells me like their own opinion of it and how they feel about it. So in terms of listeners, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. If people rock with me on the journey, I appreciate it. But I have zero expectation of doing that because there's so much stuff trying to grab people's attention nowadays. You kind of gas to get someone's 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So community and listeners, that's kind of my overall.
Me, I just want to inspire, really. I know it sounds cliche and what everyone wants to say, but the only person I've seen make it from where I'm from is Georgia, and that was recently. There's no one that's done like I say Goldie, of course, but he was that far away. I didn't see that either. You know what I mean? No disrespect to Goldie, but I didn't see that either. No disrespect to Goldie, but I just want to show these kids that we can do it. Like whatever, and you don't have to change yourself to do it. I feel like I've got the same morals, I've got the same principles. I'm the same kind of guy that I was at the start of this journey. I've come on leaps and bounds, and I've made progress, and I've seen rewards for my investments already, but I ain't changed. And I want to show these kids in these areas like this that you don't have to sell drugs to rap, you don't have to be a gangbanger to rap, you don't have to be in prison to rap, you don't have to do all these negative things. You can even talk about these things from a third person point of view, like Tupac used to do. That talk about the environment, talk about all these things, but the most important thing is make some positivity out of it. You know what I mean? Make some change, that just inspire the kids. That's it. As mad as it sounds, obviously get rich, but that's the main thing. If we're talking about not materialistic, is inspire and show people that we can do what we want. Man. Yeah, that's it. No matter where you're from, no matter what you do, you can do it.
100%.
Positivity out of negativity. That's what it's about. I'm trying to say the exact same thing as Jay. I'm just trying to show people that it's possible, no matter where you're from. Like, Walsall isn't the most well-known place, but over time we're getting noticed by people that we didn't think we'd get noticed by. So I think it's just about pushing persevering and believing it's possible. And that's what I think we're trying to show.
Okay.
Don't think that the targets you set at the start are the end goal. Set targets that are achievable and they're milestones to get somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you reach that milestone, set another one. Once you get to that milestone, set another one. So little steps, baby steps to get to where you need to get to, and don't think failure isn't mistakes are great. Everybody in this room has made mistakes, and the problem that you've got, if you make a mistake and then you make the same mistake again, you haven't learned from it.
Yeah.
So once you've made a mistake, learn from the mistake and don't make the mistake again. And mistakes help you to be great. Because if everything is always handed to you on the plate, you'll only ever know success. And if you've only ever known success, when something bad happens, you probably won't never get up from it.
Which it will, definitely.
Yeah, and there was a talk of faith and how important faith is to people. I'm not a man of faith. I'm a man of, I believe in people.
Yeah.
And I believe in everybody's got good in them. I believe in good rather than faith. I've got my belief is that do the right thing, to be good by people, and you can't go far wrong. My faith is in people and belief in myself. So as long as you've got that, and as long as you can stay true to who you are and read the signs. Read the signs. You know, if you're gonna go down that path and it's gonna take you a certain way, then we've all had opportunities where we've been in situations where you can do the wrong thing, and you do, and these things happen. It's by luck often that everybody hasn't had the same experience, but in those circumstances, if you haven't learned from it and don't and move forwards and don't disrespect anybody on the way up, because on the way back down they'll disrespect you even more.
Definitely. Okay, so we've spoken about making choices, we've spoken a bit about mental health, we've spoken about how social media has come into all of this as well, about the local, how we need to escape it apparently to make it. So as we wrap up, what final thoughts or messages would you like to leave with our audiences about the importance of finding your path and staying true to your roots?
I think Jay said it best earlier about authenticity, and it like Jay's gonna be Jay in 10 years and he'll be whatever he's in it. But a lot of people, they'll change, and you'll change as well. You'll go through different paths, or you'll try different things, and you have to experiment. But once you find what works in whatever that is, double down on that, and then just keep going. Because at some point there'll be a breaking point, there'll be a catalyst, and that will be the point you've worked for. But you lot sitting here right now, we don't know what that is until we find it. So it is literally just a case of you have to keep going. Things get bleak. You lose stuff, you lose money, people betray you. Game's the game, innit? If you don't like the game, quit playing the game. But ideally, you keep going and you keep playing the game, because, like I said at the start, you got into this for your own self. So they're the person you kind of have to look after, innit? So if you look after yourself first and go for all of this, you'll be fine, innit? But game's a game, so...
Yeah, bang on. What you need to be ain't always what you want, what you're gonna be. You know what I mean? What you want to be is not what you need to be, should I say? So you might want to be a rapper, and you could be a better videographer than that. Just find your lane, mash the work you need to, and keep mashing until you where you want to be in life. That's it. Just don't give up. Don't give up, and keep pushing, man.
All right, so we've got Garfield, Meredith, Mayday, One Side J, Tailor Made. Thank you so much, guys.
Yep.
Give it up for the guys.